1000 пуль вместо 1000 слов.
The Thompson submachine gun is a symbol of banditry during the Prohibition era in the United States. At the end of this video, the story of how this soulless mechanism, created for killing, was able to reveal human qualities in a hardened killer. The newspapers of the Roaring Twenties nicknamed him the Chicago typewriter, and there is some truth in that. He was unmatched in writing epitaphs. A few words about the creation of this device. The bloody hand-to-hand combat of World War I prompted U.S. Army General John Thompson to develop a mobile automatic weapon for clearing enemy trenches and foxholes. His fruitful work was crowned with success. In this photo, the general is holding his brainchild in his hands. But by that time, the war was already over. The trench sweeper, as the general called his invention, seemed to have become obsolete. And could such a weapon really be sent into the muddy trenches? Probably not. Thompson is to submachine guns what Rolls-Royce is to cars. The best materials were used in its manufacture. High-quality steel, expensive furniture wood, precise fitting of parts, and as a result, a high price of $200. Two Thompsons could buy a Ford Model A car. Nevertheless, he did not remain unemployed for long. Soon he found his match. Instead of soldiers in dirty uniforms and boots, gangsters in expensive suits and patent leather shoes. They were the ones who truly appreciated the general's invention. It should be noted that these weapons were again affordable only to wealthy gangsters due to the high cost of the Tommy gun and its ammunition. Poorer gangsters used cheaper weapons. Which ones? The Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution gave them the opportunity to choose from a huge arsenal of weapons available at the time. We will look at the most popular ones. And then we will look at the weapon that probably every gangster has held at least once. The bat. Many gangs started out with it at the dawn of the U.S. mafia. It was used in the first skirmishes in the fight for territory. It was used to smash goods, shop windows, and cars belonging to businessmen who refused to pay. It was used to beat girls who refused to engage in prostitution. And yes, Al Capone himself killed 2 traitors with a baseball bat. Let's take a quick look at some cold weapons. Garrote a noose for silent, bloodless murder. Made from thick string. Brass knuckles were also part of the gangster's arsenal. They are mentioned in Mario Puzo's sensational novel The Godfather, where they are used to punish 2 scoundrels. blackjack is a long sleeve made of thick fabric, sewn on one side, filled with 100 to 250 grams of shot, sometimes mixed with sand. It is a compact inertial weapon that delivers powerful blows. It was often used in kidnappings. A blow to the back of the head with a blackjack can knock out even a large man for 5 to 10 minutes. Various stabbing and cutting weapons. Knives and stilettos were especially popular with the Italian mafia. Let's get back to firearms. Shotguns. They were much more popular than the Tommy gun, which was hyped by newspapers and cinema. Cheapness. Availability and high lethality. From a simple double-barreled hammer gun. The popular Wyatt Earp model of 1868. Italians often used the Lapera, a handcrafted shortened double-barreled shotgun. Later, members of other ethnic groups added it to their arsenal. Next was the shotgun with a movable Colt Ferrand, a pump-action shotgun. The popular Winchester 1897 model with an open hammer. In experienced hands, it had an amazing rate of fire. The Browning Automatic 5 self-loading shotgun was also very popular among gangsters. Incidentally, self-loading and pump-action shotguns were often shortened by sawing off part of the stock and barrel for greater compactness, concealed carry, and use when shooting from a vehicle or indoors. An example is Clyde Barrow's famous Browning with notches that he made after each murder. Let's move on to pistols and revolvers. First up, the Colt 1911 or 1911A1. Large, reliable, extremely powerful. Interesting fact: gunsmith Hyman Soule Lebman, commissioned by Dillinger and Baby Nelson, modified the Colt 1911A1 for automatic fire, installed an additional Thompson grip and an extended capacity magazine, and also installed a compensator. Later, there was demand for such pistols, and Lebman converted dozens of them, although only a few examples have survived to this day. The compact Colt Detective Special Revolver, designed for concealed carry by various law enforcement agencies, also appealed to gangsters. The Smith & Wesson Model 10 also often fell into the hands of gangsters. Incidentally, in 1934, the company developed the famous 357 Magnum cartridge specifically for this revolver, for more effective shooting at gangster cars. Douglas Besson named the new ammunition Magnum in honor of the 1.5-liter bottle of French Magnum champagne, of which he was a connoisseur. The new ammunition was quickly adopted by gangsters. Colt M1903 simple, reliable, compact. Pocket pistols were also in demand as weapons of last resort. The popular Browning 1906 model. A few words about how gangsters acquired weapons. The simplest way was to buy them in a gun shop, often using a front man. Fact: until 1934, any adult citizen in the U.S. could purchase a Thompson, and in general, controls on the circulation of weapons among the civilian population were somewhat tightened. The second method, which is still relevant in the U.S. today, is to buy from burglars who often stole weapons from homes. The third method was the most common during Prohibition and is not applicable today. It involved raiding small police stations, where at night there was often only one police officer on duty who did not resist the bandits. And finally, two more examples of weapons, heavy artillery, so to speak. The Winchester M1907 self-loading rifle was originally designed for deer hunting. With a caliber of .351, the bullet developed an energy of 1,900 joules, which attracted the attention of both bandits and police, as it could easily stop a car by hitting the engine compartment, and bulletproof vests were no obstacle for this rifle either. An interesting detail is that the rifle's bolt was cocked by a tube under the barrel. The Browning automatic rifle is a self-loading rifle that can be classified more as a light machine gun, chambered for the 7.62 to 63 Springfield cartridge. It fires in bursts from an open bolt and had an uncomfortably strong recoil that knocked the weapon off the line of sight, yet Bonnie Parker, despite her frailty, handled the Browning M1918 quite skillfully, firing long bursts. So, we have reviewed the most common types of weapons used by gangsters in the United States in the 1920s and 1930s. Soon, many of them went legit, replacing their bulletproof vests with even more expensive suits, and their Tommy guns with Parker pens, always with gold nibs. The Promised Story. On September 25, 1925, in Chicago, Frank McErlane and Joe Polish Saltis decided to deal with their sworn enemy Spike O'Donnell once and for all, using a Thompson for the first time in history. They opened fire from the car window, but O'Donnell was not so easy to kill. He took cover behind a concrete flower bed and saw a little boy who was frightened by the shots and ran toward where the bullets were flying. O'Donnell quickly ran out of cover, threw the child to the ground, and covered him with his body. Whether this noble act was the reason the killers left without even injuring anyone, we will never know. We will also never know whether O'Donnell himself knew he was capable of such a thing, having committed about 12 murders at that point. After Prohibition was repealed in the United States, he legalized his business and began building roads. Nevertheless, in 1943, he was shot twice in the back by an unknown assailant. He got into his car, drove home, entered the house, and fell to the floor, dead.